In the last year, world wealth has risen by nearly 5% to $241 trillion. Within that, there are four main themes: the continued renaissance in US wealth creation, a rebound or recovery in Eurozone wealth, a lag in Japanese wealth creation given what the Bank of Japan are doing, and a much more differentiated picture in terms of emerging market wealth creation. Well, I think the tale of the last year is really of two countries, the US first and then Japan. The US, there has been a continued and impressive growth in all the components of wealth. Property prices have risen, the equity market has been solid, and actually compared to the bottom of the crisis 4 or 5 years ago, the level of wealth in the US has increased by 54%. And actually in the last year, the US has added over 1.5 million new millionaires. So Japan stands in contrast to the very strong wealth creation in the States and the recovery in Europe. In the last year, the level of wealth in Japan has fallen by $5.8 trillion. That's partly a currency effect, the much weaker yen following the actions of the Bank of Japan, but also relatively few Japanese households hold equities, which have risen very strongly. I think equities are only about 10% of total financial wealth in Japan. Debt levels are also quite high. Well, we've seen some very solid rebound in wealth in Europe and the Eurozone. Greece stands out in terms of having a very sharp rebound from the very low levels. France and Germany have added, I think, about 280 and 220,000 millionaires, dollar millionaires in the last year. And in both countries, the level of wealth has risen by about $1 trillion. China remains a very solid wealth creator. In China in the last year, wealth has gone up by about $1 trillion. It has added close to 1 million new millionaires. And that's partly the effect of strong property prices, partly the sticky currency. Well, for the first time really in 12 years of wealth, global wealth data, we're beginning to see a much more differentiated and maybe slower picture of emerging market wealth creation. The rate at which emerging markets were growing wealth in the early 2000s was 3 times faster than what it is now. And that, I think, speaks to a maturing economic picture. In countries like Brazil, like Russia, because of falling asset values, because of weaker currencies, the level of wealth has actually fallen. Other countries where we've seen a rebound in the macro picture, Mexico, Colombia, we've actually seen a pickup in wealth. But this year, the emerging market story is much more differentiated than it has been in recent years. Well, Switzerland this year has pushed once again through another milestone. The average level of wealth in Switzerland is now $514,000 US, and Switzerland remains at the top of the wealth league tables, followed by the likes of Australia, Sweden, Luxembourg, and then the UK and the other big European countries. But it very much stands out if you look across all the assets, financial assets, etc. Property, which has been very strong, and the currency has held its own. All those factors have contributed to push it to the top of the wealth league table.